gospel, light of the temple. Short swing, killer live from the ghetto. The hood messenger, let them know hell's close. Black burial, the devil in a black cloak.
Yo, what is up? Welcome to the Street Gospel Podcast. I'm your host, Dave One. And this is episode number... Yo, Cam, what episode is this? 97. Episode number 97. We're getting up there, y'all. We're getting up there. If you watched our last podcast, it was with Art. Definitely a good one to go watch, man. And the crazy thing about the one with Art is this. Look, Art was hesitant about being on the podcast. There was a lot of his story that I didn't know. A lot of his story that he never shared before. He came through. We recorded it. And to be honest, he wasn't too sure about releasing the podcast. And then God just spoke to him. And he said, yeah, let's do it. And I think he was pleasantly surprised of how many people that podcast touched. So shout out to Art, man. Art Reveles of Savior Brand. You know, check out his brand. Definitely a good story. Don't miss that one, especially if you're dealing with identity. This guy, you talk about finding your identity. He found his identity in Christ, man, after searching and looking for it through many things. So, but today, man, we got a guest on, and shout out to his management, especially Tina. She made it happen. So we had a couple dates scheduled. Things didn't work out, but she stood true to her word and she made it happen. So I appreciate you, Tina, for making this happen. This dude right here, he is. We could tell by the music I put on. It's a little hyphy. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's a little hyphy. So he's a Bay Area native.
It's lit.
I mean, Pittsburgh, not PA, CA. Pittsburgh, CA. He just came off tour, headlined his very own tour. He has a show coming up August 31st at the Observatory in Santa Ana. You got to go check him out there. He sold out the Novo. Do you get that? He sold out the Novo, man. My goodness. Is a believer, a husband, a father. He's selling out shows without selling out his soul. Woo! I want everybody on the Street Gospel Podcast to give it up for Mr. Miles Minnick.
Let's get it. Hey, man.
What is up, man?
What's up, man? It's a blessing to be here. Thank you for having me, bro, for real.
Look, man, I am honored that you came to my humble podcast. You know what I mean?
Pod. It's a fire podcast. What do you mean? Y'all making noise, man.
I saw you making the rounds, and I was like, this dude, man, he's probably not going to make it to the Street Gospel Podcast. I saw you with my boy Ruslan, and I was a little jealous because I know Ruslan really good, man. I saw you with Kev, you know what I mean? And I was
Bootleg
like,
Kev, yeah.
Bootleg Kev, man, that's pretty big too. and I was like, and then I caught you on a few radio stations in New York. I checked them out. I was okay, is he going to make his return to the Street Gospel Podcast? I don't know, because I saw Miles going like this, and I was like, I don't know if he's gonna come, but you made it happen, man. You came back around.
Absolutely, man. Look, I want to stay connected with people that's really doing stuff for the right reasons.
Thank you,
know what
man.
I mean? And we got mutual friends.
Yes,
you
sir.
got Kiaja here. You got Steven Malcolm here.
Yes,
who's been my big bro since the pandemic.
That's dope.
And so yeah, man, it was only right.
That's dope, man. So we was talking before we started about the big show coming up at the Observatory. I shouldn't say the big show. Another big show.
One of the big shows,
right?
For sure.
Because you did the Novo, which was, and you sold it out.
I mean, we could have maybe sold a few hundred more, but it was you couldn't tell. That joint was packed all the way out.
It was packed.
Downtown LA. I mean, that was definitely a dream come true. And then a month and 13 days after that, we sold out Glowfest for the third consecutive year in the Bay Area. And so the team is like, look, there's momentum. Where else are we going to go? What haven't we touched? Right. So we did LA. We did the Bay.
Yeah.
Now Orange County.
Yeah.
Is the bounty. We got to, get to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Super excited, man.
I think, were you nervous? Like, you get these regional rappers, right? Or regional artists, and they're big in their area. And sometimes that's fine, right?
Yeah.
If you're big in the Bay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But then you make a jump and you come down to LA, and sometimes that doesn't translate. Were you nervous? Were you surprised that the Novo was such a big, huge deal?
That's a really good question. So, it's almost easier for us in LA than it is in the Bay in a lot of ways.
Really?
We seen our event last November called Glowember. We sold more tickets at Glowember than we did Glowfest last year.
Wow.
And we sold out Glowfest. And so we did a few hundred more in downtown LA. And that was the first week that I moved to LA where we did that show Glowember. So it was like, oh, there's something here. But for Novo, it was slightly different because it was our first venue. Right. For every other show we've ever done, it's been at a church. But the Novo is like the premier venue everybody goes to. Is by that. It's in downtown LA by where the Lakers play.
Yep.
It's right in the mix of everything. And so I was nervous because you don't know if Glowember was a fluke. You know what I mean? And for Glowember, we had everybody on the lineup: Caleb Gordon, Alex Jean, Childlike CC, DKG Kai, Tadashi. Right. So it's like, dang, did the audience come for them, or was it for the movement? Like, I don't know. Are they going to show up? And then God showed up and the people did as well, bro. And that boosted our confidence to know, like, okay, like, what if God is meeting us at the level of our faith, our expectation? You know, like, what if by us getting a big venue is a sign to him to say, okay, they trust me for more, so let me go ahead and pour out more.
Wow. Yeah, man. I was, I think when I saw that and how hyped, like the crowd, like you bring the energy, but there's some like artists bring the energy, and sometimes the crowd is just like, right?
Just gazing.
And I just saw like your energy and their energy matched. And when they matches and everybody, not just like half the crowd or the front of the crowd, like I saw video from like the back of the crowd and everybody's just like up and down, just like getting it. And I was like, there's something going on here. Like this is, I don't know that I'm not saying like Christian hip hop's not legit or anything like that, but this was like the first time like I seen like, okay, this is not a fluke, or this is not just one artist. Like this is, like you said, this is more like a movement. Like there's something going on. Like Christian hip hop is more respected now. Like it's good music.
Yeah. The quality is raising across the board. You know, you look in every corner of the genre. Everybody's stepping it up, from Indie Tribe to those over at Reach Records. You see Hovey breaking records.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, Caleb Gordon, Alex Dean, those Florida boys going crazy.
Yep.
And so we're here in the West Coast, which have been historically looked over, not just in regular rap, but also Christian rap as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, what can we do to really raise the bar here? And by the grace of God, man, it seems like that's happening, to where a lot of people, even in the mainstream spaces, and people who never heard of Christian hip hop, are now discovering us. Like, yo, I didn't even know this existed, and we become almost like the gateway to the rest of the genre,
right?
And it's been crazy.
That's crazy, man. Where did your story begin, man?
It all started back in 1985. No, I'm playing. Man, I'm from the Bay Area, man. Born and raised in the East Bay, Pittsburgh, California, as you said, man. Yep. Graduated at Mount Diablo High School, Concord, California. You know what I'm saying? Raised by a single father. Shout out to Jeff Minnick and my older brother, 4 years older, man. Free Jeff Jr. Yeah, my brother learned his lesson. In Jesus' name. Straight up.
Okay.
But yeah, man, I'm just a real hyphy baby. You know what I mean? Like, I was raised in a hyphy movement. Like, I'm in freshman year of high school with the tall tees, the RP Mac Dre hoodies, the gold teeth and the dreads.
So you're a real Bay guy.
The Jabos with the straps. Come on, man. Like, I was really
the stunner
in it.
Shades?
Stunner Shades. I never had the Stunner Shades, but I was in there, you know what I'm saying, going to the side shows. They ghost riding the whip. I'm at the super hyphy functions. I'm there with DJ Amen. Like, I'm really out there. And then when the hyphy movement died out and the Get Active Mobby movement started popping off, I'm rapping with them. Wow. I'm with like the top dudes. Just like, it was just, it was a part of me, because my family was so integrated into that as well. My dad being like an OG from my city, and my brother being like, he was the pretty boy basketball player, but then, junior year for him, he turned into that like, it got rough for him. So then he became like the thug of the city. And so that just, a lot of that stuff rubbed off on me at that time. But as far as the faith journey, man, I've always like known about God, but I didn't really know God or encounter him until I was 16 years old. You know, I've shared my story on a lot of different platforms, but man, for me, I wasn't looking for God. I wasn't searching for God. Nobody around me knew God. All I knew how to do was ask God for things. Like I was the kind of Christian,
Right.
like, God, if you get me out of this, I swear.
Yeah.
Like those kind of people.
Making the withdrawals, but never the deposits.
Correct. But it wasn't until I was 16 years old in the middle of a smoking session, my friend Dante was like, bro, we should go to church. Like, bro, what are you talking about? Like,
You thought he was tripping.
Like on Sunday? He's like, no, right now. Like, right now? Like, it's 5 o'clock, service started at 7 or whatever. I'm like, why would we go to church? Like, we're in the middle of smoking. Why would we go? Like, I had enough sense to at least think, like, you don't go into the house of God under the influence of something. You go with a suit and tie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You go with your grandma and mama and them on a Sunday morning. What is a Wednesday night service? It's a youth service? Oh, yeah, it's a youth service. And it's all the girls from the local high school.
Oh, okay.
It be all the baddies.
So that's what it was about.
That's exactly what it was about. And so I was kicking and screaming. I didn't want to go, especially because, like, I smelled. We was reeking. Like, why would I do that to myself? They said, no, trust me. Here's some lotion for your hands.
Okay.
And some cologne. We'll get you right. But let's go. So we went to the church. And then, coincidentally, the youth group was closed that night. So we had to go into the main sanctuary. And, man, to make a long story short, bro, I walked into that church with one high. And I left with a new high that never ran dry, bro. I really felt the presence of God for the first time that night. Me being fresh off the street, high.
16.
Wow. Me not being church trained at all.
That's
Me never seeing somebody fall out under the presence of God. Like, Pastor touched me on my head. I collapsed under the power of God.
Whoa.
And literally, that high went away that I came in with. I'm telling you, it felt like I was in, like, heaven. Like I was floating. And then ever since then, I would chase the presence that I felt that day. I went back every single Wednesday, and shout out to my boys who took me, but they never came back with me. Wow. I wasn't going for public approval or to look cool or to try to impress somebody. I was going to really try to get to know God. And in that same church, I met my wife. In that same church, I became the youth pastor there.
Wow.
5 years later, at the age of 21, and in that church, I really learned how to perform. On this level. And I learned how to be a public speaker, through go ahead and do the offering for us.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead and do the announcements.
In church, you learn a lot of things. You learn sound.
Yeah.
Right? How to connect the sound. You might learn an instrument. You learn about order. Yes. You learn about getting up public speaking.
Yeah.
And you don't think, you're learning those things. You just think like, well, this is just what I got to do because the pastor asked me to do it. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you got all these skills and you're like, oh, this is what I've done forever.
Oh, it was because the church said I would crush it in every job interview. Because, in church, you learn how to communicate. You learn how to talk. You learn how to present yourself.
Yep.
And you learn how to dress. All my OGs in the church, my mentors, the pastors, the ministers, like, make sure you wear the power tie, the red tie with the blue suit, put the white shirt on, make sure you get it tailored. Like, I'll take you to my tailor. I'll take you to the dry cleaner. Like, all of that game was instilled in me.
Yep.
And so it prepared me for, what I'm doing now and what I was doing during that time.
That's dope, man. We talk a lot on this podcast about the encounter. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? About really, a lot of your friends didn't get that encounter that you got.
Correct.
And I think a lot of youth today don't get that encounter. They get the church. They get a little piece of God. They get some knowledge. But what keeps you in church and keeps you going, whether you mess up or not, is that initial encounter. And when you have that initial encounter, like, that's what keeps you coming back. And exactly. I think right now with your message and the shows and how you present yourself, I can see the encounter. And I see you trying to let other kids know that you can receive the encounter. It might not be the same, right? It might not be the same method, but it's the same message, right? Does that sound right?
You talking. It's the encounter that has kept me. It's me feeling the embrace of God, the tangible presence of God, this feeling that he would go out of his way to reveal himself to me in that way. It's like how could I turn away from that?
Right.
How could I abandon that? You know what I'm saying? So that has kept me all the way up until now. And like you said, we may operate and do our ministry through a different method, but it's the same message. It's the same motive.
Yeah.
It's the same type of movement as you may have seen, you know, on Azusa Street, or the same type of movement for Jesus Revolution. But we are the new hippies.
Right.
Yeah. We're the new community that may not look like church people. We may not dress like church people, but we got God, and we want to give people the love of God and walk like Christ, for sure.
And you've had some pushback, right? I mean,
even today, it's, you know, it happens.
In the church, we've always had that, right? So we went from hymns, you know, to maybe the keyboard, to adding a guitar player and some drums, and then do you remember when the big thing was when we started adding lights and turning down the lights
and the haze machine, the smoke.
Yeah, you do the smoke machine, and then everybody's like, oh, I'm leaving. You know, the older people are like, I'm leaving the church now because it's getting a little bit too much. Then we're all okay with that, and then we start adding maybe a rhyme or two to a worship song, and everybody's like,
and some skinny jeans for the worship leader with the Chelsea boots and the comb over and the tattoos.
I call them the Peter Pan boots. Yeah, the little half boots. Right?
Yeah.
So I call them the little Peter Pan boots. But there's, you know, every movement, you know, and even if you look at that like Jesus Revolution movie, you know what I mean? Like the church people were like, oh, these long haired people. I mean, it's the same.
Yeah.
And I like to remind people that get super spiritual or super religious, what did you look like when you came into church? And I grew up in the neighborhood church, man. Cholos, Deck Pendletons, slick back hair.
In East LA.
Yeah, these Southeast, East LA areas, and these dudes are coming out like that. And then they get conservative over the years. And then you have to remind them, like, do you remember how you came? Like, and then when they start to remember, they're like, okay. And they become a little bit more accepting of a new movement. Same message, different method. Kids are getting saved. Kids are having that encounter.
Straight up. That's what it is, you know. And it may look different, but it's the same motive.
Yeah, man. And then the pushback. You've had some pushback.
Yeah.
Some of your shows. I know you've been really vocal about it. I know you spoke up at your shows on the mic about it. But it's. You start preaching a little bit. I don't think you mean to say like I'm preaching, but you want to tell people like, hey, listen, we're all about Jesus.
Yeah. Pushback has come in different ways through different people, different means. We've had protesters at several events.
It's crazy.
With picket signs, megaphones. This is not of God. Christian rap is leading people astray. They're trying to like misquote my lyrics or put a different agenda behind it.
Really?
Like it was
really.
Like, it was like, I do like this, Christ-like on the hat and it matched the fit. Bounce to the beat till it starts to hurt. Holy Ghost ride the whip all in front of the church. Do y'all see what's going on? I'm like, bro, like, what are we talking about? Like, this was in front of the Novo and in front of Glowember at Fearless Church, and they was in Stockton, talking all that stuff. And so, but TikTok, we got it. Probably the worst.
Oh, TikTok's bad, dude.
TikTok,
I mean, it's polarizing.
It's kind of like, and before TikTok, I didn't realize those kind of Christians still existed, because in our spaces, you know, and with me going to over 100 churches every single year, I don't encounter those kind of people. When I say those kind of people, I mean people who are completely against Christian rap or anything that isn't guitar, contemporary Christian music. They're like, if it's not that to them, it's of the devil. And they try to get super deep with it, like the frequency of the music and the circumference of the module and the all of it is like the frequency of the 808 is going to cause depression, and the depression is from the enemy. And if you, that's the enemy's 808. I'm like, okay, what do you mean? I'm using these same 808s, these same instrumentals to lift up Jesus, and they'd be like, oh, that's a satanic instrumental. Like, what are you saying to me?
Yeah.
And so all of it, man, like. And I give it to my pastor and like, Pastor, what do you think about this? And he's been seeing my reactions. And so a lot of it is like, okay, Miles, now you get into a level, you can't keep responding to these people.
Yeah, right.
I understand. Like, people go through this, you know, prominent ministers, and even Jesus had his Pharisees.
Yep.
And so my pastor has instructed me, he said, next time they come to your concert, don't call them out per se, but go and serve them.
Ooh.
Serve them. Give them water. Invite them in. Ask them, is there anything that they need? maybe have a budget set aside for them and some fruit
Wow.
or whatever, and just serve them.
Wow.
Yeah, and then let them do what they do.
I like that about your pastor, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real man of God.
For sure.
He ain't saying go out there and fight them.
Yeah,
He's saying go out there and serve them.
Because if I was somebody's pastor, hey, next time you see them, go out there with your own megaphone and have the concert in front of him in the middle of the street. Yeah, but hey, that's why we got leadership.
I heard you sat down with one of them guys.
I did.
Right?
I did.
That's what I heard.
The head honcho. I did.
How did that go?
Oh, it seemed fruitful. We spent 2 hours together on a Zoom.
Hey, props to you, man. Because I'm all, like you said, I'm all about being fruitful. If it starts to get unfruitful, I'm out. But 2 hours?
Yeah, 2 hours, man.
Wow.
And he's one of the ones that came to Stockton on New Year's Day. It was him and a team of people. Big Faith was there. Your boy Big Faith, our boy. And Big Faith actually went outside and started to challenge the things they were saying. And so when Big Faith challenged them, the guy I met with on Zoom, he was like, you know what, maybe I am wrong. I want to meet with Miles so I can be corrected if I am wrong. Maybe this is all a misunderstanding. So I met with them. Very, very, very nice dude. Young dude too, like 20.
I was just gonna say, was he younger guy?
22.
Okay.
Very young, from Sacramento.
Okay.
At the end of the call, it was like, okay, we understand we both love God. We serve Jesus. We just do it in different ways.
Right.
So God bless you, man. I appreciate you taking the time, X, Y, and Z. So at least that's what I thought it was. I thought we had an understanding. And then right after that, he was back to it. Back to it on social media.
See, that ain't cool.
And he showed up to the Novo with more props, more picket signs, and a team with him. And I was like, man, come on, man. Like, at that point, wifey was like, nah, you have to block him. Just go ahead and block him. Because I'm over here trying to, like, in a DM, like, bro, I thought, all it is. But some people, you just got to give it to God.
I'm like you in a lot of ways. Like, I try to find an understanding with these people. Like, what are you thinking? I've had people challenge me on the podcast. Stupid stuff, that art, it's not of God, or that painting over there is not of God, or I had, a little bit of a sponsor kind of with the liquid death. Oh, liquid death's of the devil, and it was everything trying to find something. And I'm like, did you actually listen to the episode and this guy pouring out his heart about Jesus and how God changed his life? Because you're worried about some art that you might not like.
About the wrong thing, man.
Big time.
The wrong thing.
And I compare it to denominations sometimes, right? Like there's different denominations. I grew up in, I don't know what type of church you grew up. I grew up in a Pentecostal church. Speaking in tongues. Getting slain in the spirit. Now I go to non-denominational church, right? I don't believe that when we all get to heaven, Jesus is going to say, what denomination were you? Right? Is he really gonna say, "Were you Baptist, or were you
here's the Pentecostal section, or if you're?"
I don't think he's gonna say that. I think he's just gonna say, "What did you do with my son?" Right? And then you gotta, then you gotta say what you did. But I really don't think he's gonna really say hey man, you were at that non-denominational church all that time when I really would have wanted you in this Baptist church over here, and because of that, I'll see you later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, depart from me.
Right. I just don't believe that, and it goes back to just a different method, but same message. You want to see kids, young people, young adults, whoever, have some sort of music they enjoy and uplifts Jesus,
because I've been to the church that had the gaiters on with the 3-piece suits that were too big for them, and with the raspy voice and talking in such a way where I couldn't understand. I've been there,
right,
as a preteen, as a kid, and I would beg my parents, my grandmother, to not take me because it wasn't relevant to me.
Yes,
I didn't understand it. To me, it was like something I had to endure. You know what I mean? But it wasn't until I was a teenager, 16, where I learned that church should be something, and it can be something that you can enjoy.
Right.
And for me, it's like the Lord saved me, but I don't think he saved me to take me out of my culture. I believe he saved me for my culture, you know, and to utilize the culture to reach the culture, if that makes any sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
That's why my album is called Christ-Like California, because I'm Christ-like within the culture of California. And you can hear it in the music.
Oh, definitely.
You can see it in the style. And we're reaching people that's a part of our culture because we're speaking their language in a lot of ways.
No, I agree, man. It's I mean, it says best in the word. We come one to save one, basically, right? And if we're all alike, it's kind of hard. I think people, you walk into a church, what do? You look around. And what are you looking for? You're looking for somebody that looks like you.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Oh, that guy looks like me. Oh, what is he wearing? Oh, he got my style over there. Oh, yeah, they look kind of. If you walk in a church and you just, I'm sorry, but it's true. If there's no vibe there, like as far as, I'm not talking about the Holy Spirit or anything like that. What I'm talking about, just a person doesn't have the Spirit, walks in there, and they just, you know what I mean? I really can't identify. I've been in a church where I didn't identify with people.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And they were good people.
Yeah.
And it was a good church. And when I left, the pastor was like, "Why are you leaving? What's wrong?" And I just said, you know, I was trying to be nice about it, man. And then I just told him, I said, there's not a lot of people like me here. And he's like, "What do you mean?" And he got offended. And I go, "It doesn't mean you have bad people here. It doesn't mean that this is not a good church. It just means it's not for me."
Wow.
Right? And I think a good pastor will say, "Well, let me help you find a church for you."
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I think that's the ticket. I think that's a ticket. But yeah, man, I think what you're doing, I think there's fruit. Right? There's fruit. I mean, there's people, there's young people. And I'm not saying that you're selling out shows, but that is fruit. And I'm sure there's a lot of kids that know who you are and relate to you, relate to your music, and say, "Okay, I can listen to this. This is good."
Praise God, man. Yeah. And I think, you know, if people would judge by the fruit instead of by what it looks like to them, we'll be a lot better off.
Yeah, I think so. Do you ever go back and remember young Miles, and then when you're doing a show, you're like, "Yeah, that was me right there." And you see like young people, young dudes, and you're like, "Yeah, I can identify with that kid right there."
All the time. Yeah. Like I try to be the person that I needed, you know, when I was 16, when I was 15 years old. And I see little, I don't want to say little versions of me, but like, you know, for when I was 15 years old or 16, when I first got into the church, I would go to these Christian rap concerts and I would search for something. You know, I would look for somebody that's a little bit older than me that had some wisdom that I could cling to and lean into. And so I try to be that for as many people as I can.
Who were those guys that you looked up to when you were younger?
Transparent.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know who Transparent is.
Small group if you don't know hip hop and Christian hip hop, but relevant.
Yeah. Transparent, Dwight Taylor Sr., he was one of the only prominent Christian rappers in the Bay Area. And he was making some noise in 2012, 2013, 2014 when he came out with a song One Way. And so I would cling to him. Yeah. I would go to his concerts, go to his interviews and all of that and try to just serve and learn from him. And even CJ Emulous, I remember being a youth at one of his concerts in San Francisco, California. And he pulled me on stage and everything, and me and some of my friends who was dancing to his music and stuff. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, they really let me see what it looked like to be a man of God and do music for God and live it out, you know.
Do you think the heart that you had as a youth pastor kind of plays a role in what you do now too?
100%. I think me being a youth pastor before I was a full-time artist shaped my perspective and why I do things. You know, I don't see crowds, right? I see souls. I see like individual people that need a loving God. You know what I'm saying? And I think me being a youth pastor almost shaped the way I perform and how I conduct a crowd. You know, a lot of it is learning how to not control the room, but, you know, I guess take control of the room, you know, because like when you're a youth pastor over middle schoolers and high schoolers, you got to know how to get their attention.
Yeah.
How to get their attention. And so I completely believe that God placed me there before here to prepare me for here.
Yeah.
To operate on a different level. Some people, Sacramento, I'm in an interview right now. Doing a pod. What was I finna say? Oh my gosh.
About being a youth pastor and it
Yeah.
affecting the way you perform and you seeing not crowds but souls out there.
Yeah.
And the different things that you've seen as a pastor can affect the way you perform.
And look, and even to this day, I still feel like a youth pastor. But now the youth ministry is over 500,000 people. It's not the 73 kids we averaged every single Wednesday. You know, I still preach all the time.
Yeah.
In between every song, I preach the song before I perform the song. So if I'm doing 10 songs, I'm doing 10 sermons.
Wow.
Essentially. And it is resonating. Somebody gave me a word 12 years ago. Said, God is going to use your music to give you a global platform, but that platform is for you to preach.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And so we're gonna get it lit, get it popping, get it yanking. But you're going to get this word too. Yeah.
Most people, you've experienced some fame and popularity. Most people forget about a word they received from the Lord 12 years ago.
Brother, please.
Once they start getting into that space. I'm not saying you have, but when I'm saying a lot of people get a word, they become popular, whatever it may be, and the dreams start taking off, and then the preaching kind of goes to the side. Maybe let's do less of Christ because then we can sell a little bit more to secular. Maybe we can, but I don't see you doing that.
Man, I don't know if there's a word for it or like it's because of this why I'm but man, I make sure I don't forget words that are spoken over me, especially like life-altering, life-changing words. 12 years ago, October 14th, at New Birth Church in Pittsburgh, California, 1411 East Leland Road on a Sunday morning. I came late into a church. I said, God, if you love me, if you're real, put your words in that man's mouth for me. And it was a guest speaker who didn't know me.
Ooh.
I was late, so I'm in the back. This man stops the service and calls me out of the back and brought me to the front. And that word he gave me changed my life. And to this day, I put it in my music. Miles, in my intro on my album, God says he's going to use you to save a generation. There's going to come a sound out of you like a trumpet, and it's going to be his gospel.
That's where that comes from.
Yes.
That word over you.
Yes.
Wow.
And it was the word I needed because my friends from the hood was like, bro, you too Christian now. What are you doing? Trying to pull me back. And my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now, Tina, was like, let's go to church more. Let's be in the Bible more. So I was stuck. So I said, God, if you're real, speak to me. Whoo! Changed my life. And then that church went into a 21-day revival after that moment. Whoo! The Spirit broke out. We couldn't leave. It was church every single day. And that ain't never happened. In the Bay. 21 days. Out of that moment. And I was marked from that moment on. Marked. That was a year after the initial encounter when I came in high. So I could never moments like that, I keep it in the forefront of my mind. Every album I do, every EP. And it's my tag. My music tag. Miles. My DJ has it. Miles. It's that man's voice.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this is my life. This is my testimony. How God snatched me up and proved his existence to me for real.
Wow.
Because, like, did I really feel God or was I just super high that day? I said, okay, God, if you're really real. He said, here I am, son.
Yeah, you were testing him a little bit. You were saying, hey, if you're real, let me see what you got. And he said, no problem. Got you.
He said, not only am I going to speak to you, I'm going to speak to everybody. I'm going to change your whole church. I'm going to start revival, and I'm going to lift you up.
That's crazy.
Oh,
man.
my God.
So you held on to that for 12 years. At any point in that 12 years, did you ask God, like, hey, what's up? Like, when is this going to get going? You said.
For sure.
Yeah. Right?
Oh. See, now you're asking crazy questions, man. You asking those Miles Minute kind of questions. Because there was a time in my life, it was probably like, it was a 6-year period, 6 years, where I'm like, God, where are you? Because I'm not seeing what you said. You said, I'm going to make you famous for me. I'm going to take you all over the world, and Jerusalem and Paris and all of these things. After that big encounter, I went to work at the movie theater right after church. I was sweeping up popcorn. Like, y'all ain't know I ain't going to be here for long. I'm about to be all over the world. And I'm leaving jobs prematurely, rushing God, but not trusting God. I was like trying to put my timetable on the Lord. But he was like, can you just like be still?
Oof.
Can you just serve where you are? Literally, I left the movie theater thinking I'm about to be full-time, travel around the world. But then I went broke. Then I got a job at Wells Fargo, left. I'm going to be full-time, travel the world. Went broke. Went back to Wells Fargo. I'm going to be full-time, travel the world. Went broke.
Oof.
And then God said, fool, if you don't apply for Travis Credit Union right now, apply here and serve here. Trust me. I said, okay, God, you know what? I'm going to serve you through this job. I'm going to be faithful to this job. Although I don't want to be here. I want what you said, but I'm tired of chasing what you said. I just want to chase you.
Wow.
I just want to chase you. So if you want to do what you said, whenever you want to do it, if I'm 60, 70, 80 years old, you're going to start doing it whenever you want to do it. I'm going to just be faithful and be still. And then as soon as I said that, it was a wrap. I was at that job for maybe like 2 months working, and then the music started working. I'm literally doing shows everywhere while I'm an employee at this credit union. And then in this job for 6 months, 6 months into me with this new mindset, it was popping so much. I'm like, okay, God, I told you I wasn't going to quit. But please do something. And again, God, do something. Please. Me and Tina crying Tuesday night. I go to work the next morning, and they fired me.
For what?
So somebody gave me a fake check. Oh. So they put it all on me. But that's not. To me, it was a like, wait, is this God? And it was. Because as soon as I got fired, my career went like, boom, through the roof, like a rocket ship. And I truly believe it all points back to me having that heart posture towards God. Like, God, whenever you want to do it, I'm going to let you do it. And I was honest with him. And I served him. And I served my family. I was serving my church. I was still a youth pastor at the time. Still working. Youth pastor, working, being a husband and a father. Youth pastor, working, husband, father, praying and expecting. But I'm doing all of these things like, God, whenever you want to do it. And then he convinced that man to fire me. And I immediately had a career. I'm not even exaggerating. I immediately had a career.
Wow.
I was traveling all over the country. And by the grace of God, I was making more money doing that than I was making at the bank. I was making some good money at the bank. But God was like, trust me, son, you ready now. You ready now. And so, yeah, I had a waiting period, sir. A waiting period. It wasn't 15 years like David. But at them 6 years for like 60. Because the prophecies, I have like a playlist of prophecies. I would listen to it like songs that were spoken over me.
Keeping that word.
Oh, brother. I'm like, nah, I know God said this. I'm about to have it by heart. And I have a lot of them by heart. I can recite it like scripture.
Wow. Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Street Gospel Podcast. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by Elevate Ministries. Elevate Ministries is an authentic, passionate, and innovative church in the heart of Orange County, California. They strive to make their services welcoming and encouraging by intentionally engaging you in all senses to stimulate a spiritual hunger. If you're looking for a great church that's on a mission to change the world one person at a time, I encourage you to check them out at www.elevateministries.com and on Instagram at Elevate Ministries. I asked you that because being young and getting to where you become all young people, like we all were young, you become impatient. As an adult, I've been impatient when God gives me a word. I'm like, you said, it's been like 2 weeks. No, I'm just kidding. Right? And you get a little impatient, but as a young person and you get a word, you're really like, what's going on? But I think the best part of that is finding, like, just be great where you're at. Yeah. And then I'm going to take you a little higher. I'm going to teach you something here, and then I'm going to put you a little higher. Then I'm going to teach you something here. I'm going to take you a little higher.
But you know what he did with me? And I think he does this with a lot of people, too. He would give me glimpses of my future. Right. There would be, like, big shows that I would do one day and go right back to that job at the movie theater. There would be, like, films that I would do. They go right back to Wells Fargo. And it's like little moments where it's like, oh, no, I know this is where I'm headed. I know it. And for him to do that radical thing that day with that word, it's like there was no way that I could, in my mind, think that was fake. Like, God completely came through for me. So I knew he wouldn't just do all of that for him to just try to inspire me that day.
Right.
I knew what he said was true. So everybody thought I was crazy, which I kind of was crazy. But I was crazy about God and what he wanted me to do. And now they're saying, like, yo, everything you said, Miles, is true. Even folks who don't believe in God. They're like, your pastor said what? The guest speaker said what? Okay, don't quit your day job. But now, seeing our lives, a lot of people from our past, that's like, yo, who's this God you serve?
Yeah, what a testimony.
What time is church? I like that new music.
What a testimony, man. I never got the vibe from you, like, even when, I teased you about you going here, but I never got, I felt, I told my wife, like, I feel like he's still approachable. I still, and I don't mean in a bad way. I mean, like, in a way of, like, I feel like this guy still has the servant heart. I didn't know where you got that from. It translates over the gram, but I was like, it still seems like he's genuinely loves God, and that he has a heart for people, and you can see that in him. And now that you explained your story, now I know where it came from.
Oh, brother!
Now I know where it came from. It came from an encounter. It came from struggle. It came from falling down, getting back up, and then it came from just saying, okay, Lord, it's all you. I trust in you. That is wild.
Yeah, brother. That's literally what it was like for me, And I may have skipped over a lot, with me being the armor bearer for my pastors and me serving under them through intense discipleship. Like, they making me cry at least once a week, scolding me. But all of that molded me to be who I am, and I can never see myself becoming somebody that's unapproachable. A lot of places that we go, me and Jorge, my road manager, we get compliments like that. It's like, we're not used to encountering rappers that are humble enough to hold conversation or to be nice to us in the green room or talk to the driver, take pictures with the driver, be friends with the driver. And it's like, hold on. Like, I know that I don't even deserve to be here. I know this is a privilege and an honor and the favor of God that I'm even here. And so let me not get full of myself in any way, because I've also seen people who get a little bit of something, get big-headed, and that big head will cause them to topple over. Like, nah, fam, let me keep God right where you need to be.
Yeah.
Because if that top button go in that right slot, everything else falls in order. You put that second button in the top slot, your whole shirt going to be looking a wreck. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that. That's a good one.
Yeah, man.
Let's get into a little bit of Glow.
Let's get it.
What's Glow and what is it about?
Yeah. Glow is the culmination of Glow Nation. Glow Nation is this organic, authentic, aggressive movement that was formed out of us doing a song one day called Glow, based on Matthew 5, for let your light shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven, right? And so Glow started off as the movement formed into a collective, but now through the resources, through the connections, through the backing, through the relationships, it's like, yo, let's make it into a bona fide record label. And it was only right to start it with those who are around me now. CJ Emulous, Tommy Zuko. Now,
CJ, you just gave him a chain the other day, right?
I sure did.
Okay.
I gave both of them a chain.
Yeah.
Yeah. CJ, not only is he big bro, he's one of the greatest lyricists.
Wow.
If people just sit down and listen to what he's saying, it's some of the greatest metaphors, the greatest punchlines. And you talk about somebody's heart, this brother is a walking shepherd, a walking pastor, a walking man of God. I love this brother. And then Tommy Zuko, I've never met an artist, a man of God with so much, what they call it, demure, sauce, swagger. Like, smooth with it. To me, it was a no-brainer to really start this with them because they have the hearts and they have the art. You know what I mean? And, it's just incredible, man. We announced the label at Glowfest, and for whatever reason, everybody who's around us is, like, fully locked in. I have, like, the greatest team ever. Like, literally, everybody's like, I'm going to quit my job and lock in. I'm quitting my job and locking in. I'm going to quit in 1 month. And I'm locking in. I'm like, yo, God, what are you doing?
Wow.
And so it made sense to me. So, you know what? No, let's make this thing official and take it further than we have ever taken it. And that probably anybody's ever taken it doing what we're doing.
Because you guys is independent.
Independent. But there are some contracts on the table from different organizations.
Okay. But I'm sure you have a leg up on those contracts because
100%.
of what you guys created.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's different than coming into the game and getting sucker punched by a record label and them getting the majority of whatever, right?
And that's why I'm so grateful for, my team members. I don't just have rappers on my team, right? I have my road manager,
right,
Jorge Batres, who's also a 50% owner of Christ-like Collection. I have my general manager, Ace Christian, who is Corday's manager. He also was managing DaBaby. Now he's like, and as a man of God, he's a man of God. He's getting closer to his faith. Now he's managing us, and he's helping us navigate the mainstream as a man of God. Like, watch out for this, watch out for that, watch out for this. And he's the one talking to the labels for us on our behalf, who he has rapport with. And then we got, of course, DJ Malski, who is the DJ for the Cardinals. And he was the DJ for the LA Rams. And I can't even say some of the stuff this brother doing. Usher called him the other day trying to get him the DJ for him on his tour. I'm like, brother, who are you really? But he's our DJ.
Wow.
Hold on, I can't forget. And then we have Hyro, who's Jorge's little brother, who is my stylist. He's also my assistant. And then we got Angel, who's our on-staff barber. Then we got Stephen Cannon, who was our official drummer, and we developing him as a singer and a rapper as well.
Wow.
And we're scouting some more people too. So.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of people that are handing you their CD at a show or are saying, hey, download my music or check me out?
For sure.
Every time.
Yeah, and it's only the beginning too. Like, we just announced the label, so I know like once Tommy and CJ really pop the way they're going to, I know it's going to be a lot more too.
Yeah. Is there a lot of talent out there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
More than ever, huh?
Yeah, shout out Mikey So Christian from Fresno. Yeah, shout out to Emilio Sarabia from Modesto. Shout out to, of course, Kiaja, Nisi Shalom. It's, like you said, Big Faith. It's a lot of them, especially in SoCal.
Yeah.
SoCal, y'all got a whole Christian rap community down here. I wish we had that in the Bay. It's crazy.
Yeah, do you think across the board the community is united, or is it kind of regional, or even maybe not united at all?
I would say it's more united than it's been.
Okay.
For sure. When I first started coming up, 2020, 2021, and so forth, it seemed very very cliquey in a lot of ways. I was just blessed to be able to be a part of each clique in a way.
Nice.
Like Reach, Embrace Me, KMF, God Over Money, all of them. But it wasn't the same story for a lot of people. But now it's like, it felt like a family. Being at Sierra Volts Festival in Houston, seeing all the artists, they just camaraderie, and Holy Smoke Fest last week, same camaraderie. Everybody cheering each other on during their sets. I'm like, this is crazy.
That's what it's about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's funny because the world has beat the church to that, and you would think it'd be the other way around, right? The world, they go to concert, they hyping each other up. Oh yeah, look at this dude, and you watch these videos, and it's like, then you go to the church, and you got this camp over here, this camp over there, this camp over there, and it's like now, it's good to hear that it's getting more camaraderie, it's getting more together, which makes the whole movement stronger, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does, and I think that's almost my story in a lot of ways, like my music story. Like when I first really came in, I was doing collaborations with everybody.
Right.
Bizzle, No Big Deal, Lecrae, Maverick City, 1K Few, RG, Wande, Social Club. Like I'm working with everybody, and then everybody started to know who we were because of the relationships.
Right.
And that's crazy.
So you came out with your latest album, Christ-Like California.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about the name.
Mm-hmm. Christ-Like California, man. I alluded to it a little bit earlier, but yeah, man, I wanted to show people like you could be Christ-like within your culture. Like you don't have to forsake your personality or your style of dress, you know what I'm saying? Or move out of your state, you know what I'm saying, and be Christ-like. You could be Christ-like within the culture that you grew up in. And so me, I want to be Christ-like in California. And for that to be a message to say you can create Christ-like Kentucky, create Christ-like London, Christ-like Florida, Christ-like Connecticut. Well, that sound fire. That sound heck of fire. But yeah, man, and that's what the movement has been. And so, of course, you're going to get some West Coast sounding songs on there. But I would say maybe 40% of the album doesn't even sound like West Coast. You got some deep cuts on there with electric guitar, you know what I'm saying, which is Find My Way, track 11. Then you got track 12, the outro called All Right, which is more like gospel.
A little bit of a change for Miles on this album. Were you afraid? Because when people hear Miles, let's be honest, want to hear that hyphy. I know it's from the Bay. I mean, I was live earlier, and I was telling the guests, I was telling the people on the live, I was like, hey, guess who I have today? So they were giving them hints. Finally, a dude says, Miles. And I said, yeah, you're right, dude. And then after he's like, oh, that Bay Area sound. And I said, yeah, you know. But this album, a little bit different. Was that scary for you, exciting for you to kind of step out of it seems to me like a hyphy song just like I could put together in 3 minutes and it's going to be a banger for you. But to step out of that realm, I think was it challenging?
It was enjoyable.
Nice.
It was enjoyable and it was strategic because, now we are leaning towards other sonics, other sounds, other styles, right? I know what my foundation is. My foundation is West Coast music, period. That's who I am. But what if we did some melodic stuff? What if we still keep it West Coast but do a God Ain't Done more, where it's like singing on the hook, it's like radio ready, all of that. Because if you want to reach more people, sometimes you got to do more sounds, and I'm aware of that.
Right.
So this was the beginning of that, but still giving oath to California.
Yeah. Yeah. So your Bay Area sound, I mean, am I right what I just said? Like it's just in you. It just seems like you just did what the Russell that single.
Yeah.
I mean, back and forth. I love
Mm-hmm.
it. And I'm just like, this seems like it's just like, let's do a song right now. Okay.
And that's what
Put
happened.
on the beat.
That's
and
what
it just
happened.
comes together.
It happened on Instagram Live, on YouTube Live, on Twitch. They had all kind of cameras up, and LaRussell said, "Okay, I'm gonna put on a beat. Let's write the song right now, and let's record it." And we wrote it, we recorded it. Both of us did one take. That take you hear is the take.
That's crazy.
And it was 30 minutes. We had a whole song.
That's
Wow. To point to what you said, it is easier for me to exist in that pocket because I've been doing it for so long and I have consumed so much of that kind of music, growing up in that and just being from that, But That's not even my favorite kind of music.
What's your favorite kind of music?
Man, I love pop music.
Okay.
I love vibey music, melodic music.
Okay.
And I might get some flack for this. I love soft rock. Like, my grandma would take me to school every day listening to the Dixie Chicks. You know what I'm saying? Maroon 5. Like,
Maroon 5. All right.
oh, yeah, I rock a Maroon
Let's go.
5. Yeah, so a lot of that stuff, too. And so who knows? You may hear.
So Miles is cultured in the music aspect.
Absolutely.
A little bit of everything.
Oh, and don't get me started on my dad. You know, my dad would raise me up on the gangster stuff like NWA and the OD40 and stuff, but he also put on the jazz. You know, I'm named after Miles Davis.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, and the Guapole, the Sade, and all of that. I love it. And so you're going to start to hear a little bit more of that.
Oh, so you're going to expand the repertoire here.
I'm going to expand it, but it's going to still be true to me.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's hard, right? That's hard for a lot of artists. They think, well, let me expand this my sound, and it doesn't work for everybody. Mm-hmm. And I think because it's not in them. Mm. If it's in them, like, you listen to this music. You didn't just say, I'm going to make a country song because country's hot right now. Like, you're not coming from country. But if you say, I can make a lo-fi song and rap over that, I listen to lo-fi. Or, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people try to be different just to be different.
Just to be different. And, like, be authentically you. If not, then it becomes like a cash grab. Or you, like, just trying to blow up or get famous. Like, I was doing West Coast music before anybody was doing it in this genre, you know, because I wasn't doing it for any other reason but because it's who I am. And that was my language, you know. Now it's become more of a thing, but I have other parts of me too that I want to tap into. And so,
what's your writing MO? You know, what do you get a beat and you just say, I'm gonna write to this beat, or do you write the lyrics, or what's your process?
I would say in the past 3 years, I probably have wrote 3 songs. Like, actually wrote them.
Wrote them down.
Most of my stuff is like I just from the top.
Really?
Yeah. So the process is you put on a beat. I tell my producer, put me in a booth. I just think about it. I'm like, okay, record me. And then I record like 4 bars, 8 bars. Stop, play back. I listen. Okay, record again. And then I do the rest of the verse.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I've been doing it for the past few years. But the ones that I wrote Christ-like. I wrote the one with LaRussell. And I wrote this one with P-Lo that we just did 2 weeks ago. And I'm kind of leaning towards the right. I'm like, I'm going to start writing again. Because, like, I don't know, it feels like I like it more. It's more detailed.
So are you writing to a beat, or are you just writing?
To the beat.
To the beat. Okay.
If I ever write, it's to the beat.
Okay.
For sure. I write down ideas without a beat. Okay. Like metaphors.
Yeah.
But the verses to the beat.
Man, that's pretty, there's very few artists that do that. I just say, put on the beat, let me go in the booth. I guess one of the reasons why is it can get expensive if you don't have anything and you're getting the booth and you're like, yeah, I just can't come up with anything right now. You just spend a bunch of money on that.
I thank God that I haven't paid for studio time since I was doing secular music.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
God has blessed me with some talented friends.
Half the battle right there.
Yeah, Dars. Shout out to Dars, man. NK4 and Tahi, and my boy Trey Wright, who's down here not down here, but Simi Valley, which is not too far.
Yeah.
We just lock in and we create, and good stuff happens.
Wow, man. Is there any artists that you would like to work with that you haven't worked with?
Absolutely. So I want to work with Chandler Moore. I want to work with Torrin Wells. I want to work with Justin Bieber. I want to do some more stuff with Kiaja, and I think we will too. A very big artist hit me up a few days ago and said, I want to get you and Kiaja and LaRussell on this remix. I said, say less. Say less. So that's going to happen very soon.
That's going to be hot.
That's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Dang, I just leaked that here.
We need exclusive. You know what I mean? There we go.
Yeah, and with me leaning into other genres and other styles too, it's like, who could I, tap into? Like Montel Fish. Who I know there's somebody I'm not saying that I should be saying. I want to work with Blast. I don't know if you know who Blast is.
I haven't heard of him.
Blast is from Carson. He made this song called Child of God and put a rimble on it. He's a mainstream artist, but he's got that sound.
Really?
He got that sound. Yeah, so Blast for sure.
Now, you came from the Bay. You moved recently to Long Beach.
Mm-hmm.
That's
The LBC.
yeah, it's a whole nother culture, right? It's a big move.
Mm-hmm.
What brought you and your family down here, man?
I moved to LA, Long Beach, so I could be home more. Because I was always down here. I was always down here for ministry, business, shows, performances, birthday dinners, everything. Our community is down here. Our team is down here. A lot of Glow Nation is here. Like, LA is such a hot spot for us. And we felt the call of God. It's almost like if I was starting a church, I would start it out here. Like, the favor is here. Like, for what we do.
Yeah.
It's the draw, the pull, the momentum, all of that. So it made sense. And ever since we've done it, everything has gone up. It's gone crazy.
Yeah.
And so we're fully integrated. My kids are in school in Long Beach. We have all of our friends here. Like, for the first time, I have like a friend group, like since high school.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, that's my crazy friend. That's my smart friend. That's the weird friend. That's the, like you know what I mean? And I love it. But yeah, it was really the leading of the Holy Spirit, man. And ever since we done it, we've seen why God led us, for sure.
Wow. Do the kids' friends know, like who you are?
Yes. There's times where I pulled up to pick up my son from school, and you got kids running up to me, but it's their parents too, like bouncing out of their car, like I squabble, hey! Like all in Long Beach. I'm like, okay, yeah. It's dope, but especially my oldest, because she got her little friends on social media and stuff. So they're like, your daddy famous.
I mean, that's cool that your daughter being a teen, you know, and she thinks you're cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, I've seen, you know, it'd be the opposite way for a lot of people, where the kids want nothing to do with their parents, or they're embarrassed of their parents, you know. But my daughter over here doing merch with us, rocking it, helping other artists with their merch at our shows, just involving herself. So that's a dream.
How does Miles, the father, differ from Miles, the CEO of a record company and Christian artist with millions of streams? Is there a difference?
No.
Same guy.
Literally the same.
Same guy.
I don't code switch. Like,
That's so good.
this is who I am at home, who I am on the stage. Like, that's why I don't have a rap name. It's my actual name. Like,
I was gonna ask you that. He's
Miles Minnick.
Did you ever have a rap name?
I did.
What was your rap name? He's like, I'm not telling you.
I was in them streets. So I was from a block in my city, Bailey Road, right? So they called me Lil Bailey.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. I was out there. But now Miles Minnick, same person on stage and off.
Okay, so Miles Minnick, if you got down to peeling the Christian brother away, and it came time to handle business, would the hood come out of Miles Minnick if it had to?
Wait.
I'm just saying.
Are you saying if I was about to fight somebody?
If it came down to the business and you were at a show and it just Bay Area pre-Jesus Miles had to pop out.
So there's a running joke. There's a running joke.
Because look, I ask you that because I think, like, to me, like, talking to you right now, like, I feel like there's an undercover hood dude in there, and if he has to come out, okay, he come out, but it's deep in there.
No, I'll tell you. There are times And my friends, they call it, like when it happens, they call me Tyrone. Because my middle name is Tyrone. Like, oh, here go Tyrone. Here go Tyrone.
Tyrone is the Black Air Forces.
Yeah, Tyrone. Tyrone's the Black Air Forces. Tyrone will be playing, and Tyrone comes out like if it's after midnight too. But maybe not the like I'll turn up on you part of Tyrone, but like I'm just like, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, I mean there are times. Sometimes I gotta spaz on my team a little bit sometimes too. Yeah, and I'm like, man, I thought you was trying to serve the Lord. I thought you was trying to. What happened to your posting plan? Why you not posting? Or like, what happened to this? What happened to this? So yeah, it can come out. And if I ever have road rage, which I rarely do, but it's like, come on, bro, like what you was doing, bro? Nah, you see. So it's there, but it's under control for the most part.
Yeah. I in SoCal you get road rage, man.
Oh gosh.
I know you was telling me that you were praying on the way here. You had some time with God alone. I do that a lot. The problem with doing that on LA freeways is that Father God, I thank you for this day. What is your problem, man?
Yeah.
Hey, you're cutting me off right now. This dude's tripping, man. Sorry, Lord, coming back to what we were talking about.
That actually happens a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Right.
The disturbances, the interruptions, the LA drivers, man, it's like, they don't care. They just want to get to where they're going. They don't care who they offend, who they cut off. That's why I be letting my car drive for me. It's like, you know what? I ain't going to deal with this today. Beep, boop.
Yeah. Hey, man, I appreciate you coming out, man.
Oh, yeah.
I think still true to your word. I think you're a genuine dude. I appreciate Tina getting back to me. Even your road manager, when he hit me up that day, I mean, first class, man. Definitely first class, grounded dude. And I wish y'all the best and success, man. And it's good, a powerful movement that our youth need right now. I mean, I don't even think you realize. I think you realize, but I think when you're looking at it from the outside, like from another perspective, maybe as me as a parent or you're a parent, you know, I just think like when I see that, and I see the movement, and I see young people fired up for the Lord and what's going on, I just like, that's what we need. Like, that's what we need in this country right now, like more than ever, like an encounter, an experience. And I appreciate you bringing that, man. I really do.
Oh, praise God, brother. Yeah, and we gonna take it higher than we've ever taken it before. And it continues August 31st. I can look into the camera right there?
Yeah. Look at that camera right there.
It continues August 31st when we infiltrate Orange County. Man, listen, we're going to an iconic venue that has been occupied by all these mainstream artists, and God bless them. But guess what? We are infiltrating the mainstream industry with a gospel message, with the presence of God. What are we talking about? What's going to happen when they see we packed out the Novo in LA and the observatory in OC? What are you saying? Clonation, don't meet me there, beat me there. Oh, what are you talking about? This Saturday, let's run that thing up. Let's do it. You know we chaining somebody. You know we got special guests. You know God finna come through. But are you? I don't care if you graduating, getting married, or getting buried. If it's happening August 31st, cancel that joint. We gonna see y'all, bro. It's really time for the movement. It's really time, it's really time for us to stop playing these games and really come together as a body, as a kingdom. Y'all, I told you in January, what I say? I said the eyes of the secular are turned towards the sacred. What are we going to show them? We got their attention now. Let's show them a united front. Let's show them we know how to get it lit, but get it lit for the Lord. Let's show them we going to turn up, but turn them up to look at God. Man, y'all just are playing with me, bro. And tickets is cheap. They cheap.
Let's go.
Let's pack that thing out. I want to see 1,200 of y'all in Orange County. 1,200. I said I want to see 1,200 of y'all in Orange County. We ain't playing these games. We done got it lit in the Bay per usual. Turned up LA per usual. We taking new territory for the kingdom. Glow Nation assemble. I'm talking to Inland Empire. I'm talking to Riverside, San Bernardino. I'm talking to Simi Valley. I'm talking to everybody in LA County. We talking to Long Beach and all of OC. We gonna see y'all August 31st at the observatory. Let's stop playing with me, man.
That's what I'm talking. You know what's crazy about this? I love it, man. Who needs a hype man when you're your own hype man, man? I mean, this dude could sell cars. He could sell anything, man. I mean, did you hear that? That was off the dome. I mean, it was, yeah, man. I mean, that was like preacher, sales guy, hype man, all in one. Boom.
And I'm not playing either.
I know you ain't. I know it's legit.
Yeah. Praise God.
We got one more thing before you head out.
Let's do it.
All right. We call this the Furious 5.
I love it.
5 furious questions we ask you. Are you ready?
Yep.
Street Gospel Furious 5 with Miles Minnick. Question number 1 on the Street Gospel Furious 5. If you had one show to do in any venue, we're going to say in the world, where would it be?
Oracle Arena in Oakland, California.
Woo. Taking it back home.
Yes, sir.
Taking it back home.
Yes, sir.
Who's opening up for you?
Tommy Zuko.
I have a feeling you believe that's going to happen one day.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Ooh. Ain't nothing like
Give me a year. Give me a year.
Ooh, he said it right here on the Street Gospel podcast. 1 year Oracle Arena. Question number 2 on the Street Gospel Furious 5. Greatest Bay Area rapper of all time.
Greatest Bay Area rapper. You know, this is a big debate. You know, a lot of people don't know that Tupac claimed Oakland. They don't know that. And so, you know, for the sake of the you know, people not knowing that, I'm gonna go ahead and say Mac Dre.
Mac Dre. Man.
Yeah. Can you do that so dance? Get stupid.
How big would a Mac Dre be right now?
If Mac Dre wouldn't have tragically passed away.
Yes. How big you think he would? He would have been huge, I think.
Humongous,
right?
Man. Humongous.
Just the style. Everybody steals Bay Area stuff, and he was that guy.
He was the leader.
Yeah,
he was the leader. He had his own Glow Nation. Yeah, he was running it up. He had his own language, all of it.
Crazy. Question number 3 on the Street Gospel Furious 5. If Miles Minnick wasn't rapping, what would he be doing?
Acting.
I mean, that's still possible.
It is.
Right?
It is. I'm going to do both.
I mean, that's still possible.
But if I wasn't rapping, though, I would be deeper into it. Like, I probably would have did 20 films by now.
Really?
For sure.
Comedies, maybe not romance because Tina would be mad, but action. What kind of movies you like?
Dramatic for sure. Definitely comedy too. I can lean into that comedic bag easily.
Yeah. Okay, so Bay Area guy, I gotta ask. Niners or Raiders?
My goodness. How? Okay.
Niners or Raiders?
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I'm gonna keep it 100. You know, I grew up with the luxury of having 2 NFL teams.
Yes.
30 minutes from me. All right? The Raiders and the Niners. I grew up in a household where my dad said, listen, son, we support both. Right? But the Raiders was always closer to me in proximity, so I leaned Raider until they abandoned us. They left us. They left the Bay.
I know.
And they went to Las Vegas. And so now I'm leaning Niner. Niner. I know that's probably offensive to my SoCal people because y'all still love the Raiders out here. Oh, I see the Raider hat. You know what? I probably shouldn't have said that. And they not like us. You see? That's man.
But what team for a Bay Area? What team was more high fear?
The Raiders. Are you kidding me? Right? The black hole. Would you go to the games sometimes in Oakland?
I went to the games in LA and Oakland.
Oh my gosh, bro.
I haven't made Vegas yet because I ain't got that kind of money.
They was lit. They would beat up people too. They would beat up Cowboy fans and all of that. It would be like Royal Rumbles, like by the little hot dog stands. It would be crazy.
It's wild.
My 18th birthday, I was there. I had I was almost on the field with it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. You know, I have more memories with I've never been to a Niner game.
That's what I'm saying. Listen, if Bay Area old Miles came out and you had to get in a tussle, would you rather have Raider fans getting your back or Niner fans? You don't have to answer that because I already could tell.
Man, listen.
Look at the jersey you're wearing.
You know what?
It matches.
The Niner fans is like your light-skinned cousins. The Raider fans is like your dark-skinned cousins with the black Air Forces that you're not allowed to hang out with. Yeah.
I always like when Kobe told Jordan Clarkson, you need to play like a dark brother. You play like a light-skinned brother right now. I always laughing at it. I'm like, and then a lot of people are like, that's offensive. And I was like, I think if you grew
But
up
you know what he meant.
I know what he meant.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody knows what he meant. I think I know what Kobe meant. And then Kobe was a little lighter. He wasn't super dark. But
he was mid-skinned.
Mid, right?
But light-skinned people, we bruise easier. The marks show. You know what I'm saying?
I know, man. Last question on the Street Gospel's Furious 5. When it's all said and done, what do you want people to remember about Miles Minnick?
Whew. I want them to remember that faith moves mountains. And then when you believe God, great things happen.
Great message, man. Great message. I appreciate you coming out, man.
Oh, yeah.
Anything you want to shout out before you get where could they find you? Anything else? I mean, you gave an excellent shout out, but
hey, praise God. Man, I want you to follow CJ Emulous at CJEMULOUS. That's my boy, a part of the Glow, and Tommy Zuko. That's Tommy ZUKO. That's the gang. That's the team. Follow All Things Glow. That's GLO. And then follow Christ Like Collection, which we should have talked about on the pod. You know, we got the Christ Like Anaheim, Orange County hat on.
All the merch.
You feel me? And we got the practice jersey because it's practice season until August 31st and it's game time.
Ooh.
You can follow me everywhere at MILESMINNICK. Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube. Follow me on Spotify and help me get the 500K on Instagram so we can impact more people with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Let's get it.
that'll wrap up this episode of the Street Gospel Podcast. Man, I wish I could have you here every week just to like do me like a promo. You know what I mean? Like catch Miles Minnick, man. August 31st.
Wait, let me say something.
Go.
It's your boy Miles Minnick, and you are now rocking with the Street Gospel Podcast. With my boy Dave One.
Yes, sir.
And my boy Cam with the whole fam. Let's get to it.
Appreciate you, man. We out. We love you. Peace.
I almost said one Dave.